welcome to Femme Fables. Megan here.
Deidre.
And today we are talking about healing from heartbreak and letting go.
Mm-hmm.
So if you caught the last episode, I recommend checking it out. It's rebound relationships and rejection. So we thought this would be a good follow-up. Okay, you've been through that.
Yep.
And I don't know if anybody knows this, but usually all of these episodes are what's going on in my life right now when I talk about them. So
It's an open book.
dealt with the rebound. My ex is in a relationship with somebody else. I won't call it a rebound because I don't know. But they're dating somebody new.
Yeah.
I feel rejected. And now I'm going through the healing process of letting go, which can be very difficult.
Mm-hmm.
So the first thing I've done, a lot of research this week on it because I've been dealing with it, was take away the dream with that person.
Okay.
Because a lot of times what you're upset about is the dream that was attached to them.
The loss of the ideal.
Right. So I felt very connected to this person. I thought this was potentially somebody I could marry and have a child with,
Mm-hmm.
Invite his child into my home. I felt very connected to him, and
Then it was gone.
that poof, bye,
And then you're just sitting there with your dream.
Right. And then, he took my dream, right?
Yeah.
Technically, to
Yeah.
me. But he didn't. The dreams still exist. So now the dream is a faceless person and all those things you want to happen. How do you want to feel? So I'm a big manifester, and I imagine what I want because I believe in sending that shit out to the universe and hopefully it comes back. So I sit there and I close my eyes and I try to meditate, and I think I'm walking down the aisle. I'm in a wedding dress. I'm coming towards somebody. That person has no face. Sometimes his face will get in there and I'm like, get the fuck out. But this person has no face. I'm walking towards them. I'm, having kids, and you know what I mean? And you're imagining these things, but I think when that person leaves us, they take our dream, or we allow them to take it from us.
Yeah.
Because we think,
It's
this,
gone now.
This was the person I was supposed to end up with.
That's
so my
the
dream
last
is
chance.
gone. Right. I won't find this again. And that was a good quote, is that life sent you this person, it will send you another.
Yeah.
Right? Because I think, especially I'm 37, I want to have kids, right? Women have that, your time is running out, your clock is ticking, so I'm like, oh my God, what if I never meet anybody? And at some points I'm like, well.
Does it ever feel like, I would imagine, and I can imagine, but that you're it's completely out of my control. You're I'm doing everything right, and I have to wait for the universe to unfold it, and that's uncomfortable.
It's hard because I'm a controlling person, I think, and I want to be in control.
Yeah.
Which I think is part of my issue and ego with this whole thing, is that I'm not in the control right now, so I'm in control of myself, and I find myself, wanting to look them up. What are they doing? Are they together? Are they being happy? And you got to take yourself out of that cycle because you're never going to heal. You'll never heal. What'd you tell me? You'll never heal in the place of pain.
Yeah, you can't. The person who hurt you is the person who healed you.
I keep stabbing myself every time I look them up or whatever.
You're ripping any kind of scar tissue that you had to heal over the wound is just ripped off.
Yep.
You're stabbing yourself exactly into your heart every single time you do that. And it's not even about the person anymore. It's about the dream.
Right. And I think that's the big key though. But we tie it to the person because that was our person.
Yeah.
And now our person's with another person. And part of me was I'm just pissed off. Why does he get to be happy and I don't?
Right.
You get that anger stage, right? Because that's part of grief.
Why them and not me?
Right. Why does he get to be happy?
Stages of
when
grief.
he lied, you know what I mean? And I'm the good person, kind and compassionate was there, and then I get shit on.
Yeah.
But usually the nice people get shit on.
Yeah.
And that's just life in general.
And a nice person will come along.
Yeah, and I had a nice person come along and want to give me everything, and I wasn't in a place. But at least I recognize it. I could have easily attached to him and let him give me everything and gave him nothing.
Ugh.
Just like people
But you're being honest, which is what other people should do.
Right. The first thing, which I think Deidre and I were just talking about this off camera, but feel all of your feelings. Yes. You can't heal unless you feel. So I have friends that, have been just distract yourself. Go do things. Go out with your friends. Go with your family. And that only sustains for so long.
Yeah.
You have to, and it's so uncomfortable, sit with your feelings and the pain, and there'll be tears. I can't tell you how many tears I've cried.
But you're not avoiding it.
Right. I'm not avoiding it. And you'll realize, last night I had some sangria. So, usually alcohol promotes
wine.
Yeah. Feelings of despair. And I was driving home and I was listening to some sappy song and I didn't cry. I felt pain. I felt sad, but I wasn't bawling my eyes
That's
out.
good though.
You know, and that you will get there, like, every day. I mean, there were moments where I was crying in between my meetings. I could only go an hour in a meeting because, or something. We're virtual now at my work, but like they probably couldn't even see that I was about on the verge of a breakdown because.
And then you're distracted anyway, and emotionally you could feel yourself just
right. Yeah. So feel your feelings. Distraction is only temporary. It's super important, and I think we talked about in the last episode. Where's your pain at? My pain's in my chest. It could be in your stomach. It could be in your head. Like, where's your pain at? And try to identify when the first you felt that pain. What were you doing? Like,
what is it attached to?
Right. A lot of times our abandonment and attachment to people comes from childhood trauma of some degree.
I actually just recently realized that, like, I thought because I'm an adult and I'm no longer a child, I didn't have to dig up old shit to deal with. But I'm realizing that you have to face it.
Yeah.
You have to face your childhood trauma or any trauma that you've had that brought you to today, because even if you don't connect to being the person that you were when you received the trauma, it's there.
Mm-hmm. I sent you that podcast, The Adult Chair?
Yeah.
That's a really good one to check out because it talks about usually when we're faced with either stressful times or these type of things, we go to our child chair.
Yeah.
We revert to our childhood trauma. And she talks about get into your adult chair and your adult mindset and not your child mindset. So it's actually really good. It's called The Adult Chair. Next is, what did you learn from the situation? I think we forget that a lot. I think we're so trapped in our pain and rejection and lack of self-worth that it's like, okay, this didn't work out for a reason. And I think what happens is once you stop idealizing the person, because we tend to do, especially if we've been dumped, we idealize them in their head. They're on this pedestal up here. They were so great.
They're godlike.
But were they? Because probably not.
They're human.
And I think you need to remind yourself and write it down in a journal. Okay, remember when I went to the grocery store and got alcohol and he said, oh, did you get enough alcohol? Dig. Right? Like, or, right after we had sex, he was on his phone texting his ex to pick up his daughter. Like, is that necessary? No. You know what I mean? So, and who knows, he apologized at that point. But, but it's those things. Like, okay, I take myself back to, okay, well, I didn't really feel,
What did you learn from the most recent experience?
All right, so I learned that I give too much too soon. I don't allow people to not prove, because I feel like that's the kind of
like earn.
You need to prove to me that you deserve this. No, earn it, right? Because it's equal give and take. I give.
Yeah.
So why are they gonna give?
If you're
she's giving me everything. Like, he would come over here, I'd make him dinner, and fold his laundry for him. You know what I mean?
Got everything.
Do all these things, and he would wash the dishes and like do stuff too. But like, you know what I mean? And I just think it was such an odd situation though too, because nobody was going out because it was in the pandemic. It was May of last year of 2020. So
you just automatically are in a home setting.
Yeah.
Right. It's a little different.
Yeah. So give too much too soon. I expect people to act the same way that I do. Mm-hmm. Expectations will fuck you up.
It's a codependency.
Don't have them.
If you're a good person and you're a giving person and somebody else isn't being a kind giving person, you feel like, what the fuck is wrong with you? But there's just different kinds of people in the world. Yeah.
So I pride myself on being kind to others, even when people have shit on me. Like, I've still been pretty nice to him, considering what I've been through, but because I'm never going to stoop to somebody else's level, but,
I can be a little petty.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I can be a little petty too, let's be honest. We all can be. It's okay. It happens. We're human, right? We all make mistakes. Everybody makes mistakes. He could have made a huge mistake. Who knows? But yeah, the giving too much too soon, having expectations. And I don't want people to do this though, because it's tough, because you go back and think, what did I do wrong? Where was it that I could have done better? Because I was just about to say I could have been more relaxed.
Like, but that goes
had fun and not been like, well, when am I going to meet your daughter? Like, you know what I mean? Like, I was trying to probably push, and that's kind of around the time that he started kind of distancing himself from me.
Right.
Whether it was because he was uncomfortable or he was just like, this is too much for me. I like the newness of stuff. I don't want the relationship
looking at the
aspect.
cake. I don't want to have the cake.
Right. I don't want the whole cake. I just want a slice of cake. I just want the icing. I don't want the cake.
So realizing that you can learn from the experience.
I think that's huge. Because I think there's nobody's brought in your life by chance, ever. It's usually some sort of learning. Okay, what did I miss? There's probably, and I think that, okay, so here's the other thing I learned is that, how do I put this? Learning to walk away when you see the red flags.
Yeah, we second guess ourselves.
And I think I felt so connected. I was excusing stuff that I probably in hindsight would have not accepted.
Yeah.
So
know when to say when.
Yeah, even because, and I think that's the hardest thing is walking away from somebody you care about because you know it's not going to benefit you. One of my friends is actually really good at it. She was dating a guy recently, and he would tell her she was chewing too loud and make her feel bad for eating a donut. And
I dated
she's a
somebody
super
like that.
free spirit too. She's a Libra, like super artsy, like free spirit, like walk
You're
to my own
chewing
drummer, right? And this guy was very nice to her otherwise, and you know, she broke it off. I'm like, I'm so proud of you.
That's really,
because you could easily stay in that place because it's comfortable and it's somebody who cared. He did care for her. He wasn't a bad guy, but it all went back to where how he was raised. His parents were very hard on him. Told him, why are you sitting like that? Why are you doing this? Why, you know what I mean?
so he's projecting his abuser on. That was what we were talking about before. That you become the situation that you grew up in.
Mm-hmm.
But
that's so huge. Not many people are strong enough to do that.
No.
And I don't think I was strong enough. I think I just moved back here, and I just recently got ghosted by that guy that I never met or whatever. And this guy came kind of shortly after, about a month or so after. So I think I was so caught in the dream.
Yeah.
That what
settling,
it could be.
Maybe.
And I'd never dated somebody who had an ex with kids, so I was still trying to navigate what was right or wrong, or, you know, is this normal, is it not? Because I've never been in this situation.
Yeah.
So I think I didn't recognize some things that clearly he doesn't communicate well.
But you couldn't have known that because you've never been in a situation with somebody who had children, and how it's completely different than dating a person with.
But like somebody, like I've learned through my research, people who talk poorly about their exes,
will talk poorly about you.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I'm sure I'm the devil right now. For sure. That's fine.
Everybody needs a villain.
What'd you say? You're the villain in someone's story.
Everybody's a villain in someone's story.
I'm sure I'm definitely probably a villain at this point, which is fine.
Even if you're not actually the villain, somebody will make you the villain because everybody needs a villain. Well,
yeah,
a lot of people.
I'm almost certain I'm a villain at this point. I don't mean to be. I am just on it. Deidre and I talked about this on the last episode. I'm just talking about the stuff I've been through because I know other people have been through it. So I'm trying to relate. It just so happens that this has happened to me, and I'm not doing it to be vicious or vindictive in any way. I'm not that person. It's just to talk about the things that have happened and hopefully relate and help others.
Yeah,
and that is true the intention of this podcast. It is. Now, granted, I probably would have never done it had I not had these things happen, so maybe that's my blessing in disguise.
This is giving you like a path. It really is. There's been people that have reached out and said, like, I am going through this exact thing. Mm-hmm. This is really helping me, so it's really positive.
Yeah, and that's what it's meant to be. I don't want anybody to think I'm trying to sit here and bash somebody, because I'm not. I'm just telling the story. He could probably come on here and tell a different story that makes me look like,
that would be
interesting.
Future invite.
Yeah. If you want to come tell your side, feel free. All right, so
it'll be funny.
Building a community around you.
Support.
Yep, support is huge. I don't think you can just rely on, I'm going to go out with my friends to distract myself or go spend time with my family to distract myself, but I think having that true support system.
Yeah.
And we talked about this on the last one. If you are, if your friend is going through this, be kind and compassionate to them. You can't rush them through their healing process because, actually, Jay Shetty was the one that said that you can't heal unless you feel, but he also said time doesn't heal all wounds.
No, it really doesn't.
But you hear that all the time. Oh, with time it'll get better. Some people, you will carry this wound, and I probably will. I will carry this wound throughout the rest of my life. Mm-hmm. I just won't be as attached to it.
I think I learned when I was like 19 or 18 with losing my grandmother that I was like, I don't think you actually ever heal from pain. I think you just learn to cope or get used to it or change your behaviors. I don't think it doesn't go away.
Right.
Yeah.
I thought it was such a profound quote to me. I was like, oh my God, but everybody says that. Oh, with time, you'll have to completely forget about it.
It's just a thing.
I don't think you could ever completely forget about something truly painful in your life. I think you either bury it or you are cognizant of it and you work through it, and you just carry it with you. And at some point you look at it like that was a learning lesson for me. Now I understand.
Perfectly.
But building a community of people who are there to support you is huge, right? You're not alone. Don't
run to the people that are going to encourage your bad behaviors.
That's true. That's such a good point.
Really, because some of us do that. When we're in a really dark place, and I had been there's people around that just want to encourage your downfall. They want to just push you even further, because it's like a science experiment. They're like, oh, she's on fire right now. Let's see what happens.
Yeah. No, that's such a good point.
Don't do that.
But don't feel that you're alone in your grieving. I think a lot of people don't feel comfortable being vulnerable about how much pain they're in.
But there's negative vampires too that will realize that you're going through shit, and out of nowhere those people show up.
Yeah.
And they're only interested in your agony.
Interesting.
There are people like that.
I'm sure I've had them in my life. I probably didn't even recognize
If they don't applaud you when you're also doing well, but they only show up when you're crying, those are people to watch out for. Seriously.
Good to know. I'm gonna have to. I'm gonna have to self-assess.
I noticed that. I was like, wow, that's interesting.
Yeah.
I was so appreciative of people being there when I was going through some hard times, and then I realized that that's the only time that they really actually had any
Or when you're being successful with
They're not
your
there.
art or your photography, crickets.
Yes. And those are
Which
different.
that's funny, because there have definitely been people since I've started the podcast that are like crickets. Find something in your life that's important to focus on. So obviously I have the podcast, Deidre does photography and art, so we have these creative outlets, and they help us, take our mind away from things. And not everybody has these grand things that they're working on, right?
Yeah.
So even if it's, my friend today was like, I'm scheduling a yoga class. She just got broken up with via email. And I was like, that's awesome. Because hopefully for that time she's in yoga,
She'll feel good.
She'll feel good, right? And you'll feel so great, like, oh, I went 30 or 45 minutes an hour without thinking about it. I go to Orange Theory, and, working out is huge for me. Like, I almost have, this feeling of elation after I work out, because my endorphins are kicking,
It's antidepressant.
Yeah. So even if it's reading a good book, something that just takes you out of that mindset and that loop that you tend to get in when you're healing and grieving, because the more you practice that every day, the less and less you're in that space of drowning in that sorrow of oh my God, I'm not with this person that I loved or
do
cared
something
very
positive.
much for, right?
It doesn't matter what it is.
So I added this last minute. I was watching a video before we got on here, and it says, think about if this person came back, would you love them the same? And I had to sit and think about that, because I feel very hurt and betrayed in my current situation. And I still care for this person. That's probably not going to change. But would it be the same that it was before? Never. No. I don't think even if there wasn't, betrayal, or you don't feel rejected or anything like that, it was just an amicable breakup, it didn't work out.
You can't go back.
The person said, Susan Winters, I love her. She does these quick 4 to 5 minute videos. She actually has a book, Breakup Triage, and a course that she does. I was thinking about doing it, but she said, you've already been dented, and you can't undent yourself.
You can't put the toothpaste back in the tube.
Yeah, right. Exactly. So think about that too. Because I think, again, we get into that, this person's up here and they're my dream and I'm idealizing. If they came back, I'd come running into their arms. It'd be like The Notebook, and we ride away in the sunset together. You'd probably be like,
we're gonna kiss in the rain,
right,
forever.
You're probably gonna be like, I'm hesitant. I have my guard up. I don't trust this person.
Right.
And I think that's when people,
it would never be vulnerable again.
If they go through a bad breakup and then they get back together, I think it's usually only if there's been an extended period of time in between. You're kind of two different people that circle back to each other in life, and you've both learned and grown. And
have you ever heard of a story where somebody broke up and got back together and it was happy?
And it lasted?
Yeah, because I haven't.
Not that it lasted, not that I know of.
I mean,
if that's, I want to know. Ooh, hold on, no. I don't know them very well. My friend's friend. Couple, married, got divorced, remarried.
And they're
still
together.
Yes.
Can we talk to them?
Yes, we will talk to them. I will talk to her, and we will talk about that. We'll circle back on the next episode.
Because I really don't know of any situation. I would never say it's impossible, but...
Well, because I think it probably doesn't work, because if people haven't really, truly tried to grow and work on themselves, they're going back to the same issues.
Yeah.
They're going to come right back to where they were.
Or if they did grow, they might have grown separately and have different things, and they're not even the same people they were when they first met.
You let them go. And if somebody wants to walk away from you, let them go. And This sounds so funny. So I was watching a video with Medea, which is Tyler Perry, obviously dressed as Medea. That. Oh my God, I'll show it to you. So funny. But in the video, because it's Tyler Perry dressed as one, he talks about how people are only here sometimes for a season. Some people are leaves, some people are branches, and some people are tree roots.
Or roots.
The roots are the ones that stay. This is friendships, relationships, or whatever. Think about how many friendships you've had in your life that you're not friends with anymore.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So relationships are the same way. I just think we have a...
But you treat everyone like they're a root.
I do. Oh, I didn't think about that. Yeah. So that's why it hurts so bad.
Yeah.
But I will admit, I have a much easier time letting go of friendships than relationships.
Less expectation.
Yeah.
Less of a dream held to it.
Yeah. Yeah. Right. Yeah. Because it's not like, oh, this,
we're going to be friend married for the rest of our lives.
Yeah, exactly. Even though,
some
I think some of my friends are my soulmates, but, yeah, recognizing that some people are just leaves and they will blow away quickly. Some people are branches. They stay a little longer, but they'll eventually snap. And then some people are your roots.
I've had some very close friends that I'm no longer friends with because they became like a toxic relationship.
With their friendships?
Yeah, like it was almost like a girl. It almost felt like I was being treated like a boyfriend that they hated or something. We were just friends. Yeah, some people get very possessive of their friends too, and very strange.
Not with me, but I've seen that with other friendships. That.
Yeah. And you have to recognize it in the. So I've thought about that, and I'm like, you're thinking about your friend when she walked away from the relationship. I've had to walk away from friendships and sever all ties because you're like, this is not healthy.
Yeah.
This is not healthy for you to constantly be berating me and telling me that I'm like, all these negative things.
Yeah, I don't think I've had friendships like that. I've definitely had friendships where you thought they were a really good friend. Like I'd moved away to Nashville and me and this person never talked again. Just done. I don't know why.
But you moved back, did they?
Yeah, no, never, nope. I think I didn't fit her need anymore.
Wow.
I was there to have fun and go out with. We were both single. I moved away. There was real no depth. It was not a root.
Yeah, they're not roots.
Yeah.
I thought this person was a very close friend of mine and like a root, but it just became very different. I was like, I'd never been so close to somebody and have them almost like, it was like they were only attached to that time period where I was going through a very dark period of healing. And they were there, and then when you started coming out of it, when I started healing out of it, they didn't want that. That was like foreign. So sometimes you have to recognize through the healing process is that you're going to lose people sometimes that are only attached to your pain.
Right. Yeah. No, that's a great point. All right. So hopefully,
shit.
Yeah. Right. On that note, we're ending this episode. So just to kind of recap, if you are going through either maybe it's something with just a friendship or a relationship where you're trying to heal and let go, take away the dream. You're connected to the dream, not the person, right? Because visualize what you want. The person has no face, right? Because you'll get it as long as you visualize it and believe in it. It's okay to grieve. You can't heal unless you feel. Feel your feelings. Feel your feelings. It's okay.
They're valid.
They're valid. Your feelings are valid. And let's see. I'm going to end on that. Build a community. You're not alone. Surround yourself with people who are supportive. Like Deidre said, you'll realize sometimes the people aren't supportive.
Yeah.
They're only there in your pain and not in your successes. Find something in your life that's important to focus on, even if it's just reading a good book, taking a bath, whatever. Doesn't have to be something grand.
Buy an awesome Nook swing.
Yes. I'm gonna do an episode of my new swing in the bedroom. No, it's not a sex swing. Don't worry. Yet. It's not that yet. It's not that kind of swing yet. Think about if this person came back, would you love them the same?
It'll change your mind about the process.
Yep. And then I'm gonna end on this. When someone shows their true colors, don't repaint them. I gave me goosebumps. I gave me goosebumps. All right, everybody. Well, we hope this helped. If you are healing, just keep going through the process. It will get better. I promise you. I was a crying mess probably 3 months ago, and now I can pretty much make it through every day without crying. I still get upset, but that's okay. So if you want to share your story, email us at femmefables@gmail.com, especially if you reconnected with somebody that lasted. We want to know if that's happened. Or if you want to share your story or just talk it out. I love, I'm an expert now. No, I'm just kidding. Now that I've watched all these videos. So, and if you're listening on the podcast, make sure you rate it and share it to help just keep the love going. But we appreciate everyone's support and watching, and we'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.